This is the third podcast show that we have ever done in
so
the studio with my new co-host, Jimmy.
Best co-host ever.
Absolutely. So, Jimmy, how is Owl Week going? Right,
Owl Week is
awesome.
exciting. Like all kinds of events online, lots of people getting involved. It's been a lot of fun to watch all the collaborations because that is what Owl is all about, connecting, learning, and growing. And that is what we're doing this Owl Week. And I'm so excited that the proceeds are going to Place of Hope. It's such a great, wonderful place that we were able to visit yesterday. So I got to see it firsthand. And I think Owl Week is doing such a great thing. And I'm excited for today's episode.
Yes, if you're listening and you want to see all the things that we did yesterday, go to our Instagram handle, OwwllApp on Instagram, on Facebook Live. We posted all the different photos.
Yeah.
We put it on our newsletter, and that's what it's all about. This week, we are giving all the proceeds from Owl, all the revenue, right to Place of Hope, and they have such an awesome mission. Tell everyone about the mission of Place of Hope for a minute.
Sure. So, we all know that there are children in need and they're in foster care a lot of the time, but a lot of us don't think about, okay, what happens after they turn 18? After they turn 18, they've aged out of the system. There are no resources for them. And things have gotten a little bit better, but there's really no resources for them. So what they're doing at Place of Hope is providing this whole huge campus full of facilities for living and for growing into adulthood. And they basically take you by the hand along the way. So you're graduated and you're allowed to evolve into that adulthood. So by the time they leave this campus, they have jobs, they understand their budgets, they're financially responsible, their children are healthy. It's incredible. So Place of Hope is doing fantastic, wonderful things in Florida, and we just want to throw them our full support.
And I just want to remind everybody, if you put a deposit on Owl, I am personally going to put $10 up for every single deposit. So if 1,000 people put a deposit down, right, that's $10,000 that they're going to get a check, at Place of Hope. And all the revenue. So all these calls, call someone on Owl and all the revenue.
Yes, I want to see a picture of you with one of those big checks.
I hope it's bigger because it's all, it's all lined at the end of the day, right? The more people getting advice, the more synergy on Owl, right? The better we all become, right?
Yes.
Advice is so powerful today. Correct?
Yes, 100%. So it's all about connecting and building our communities one person at a time. So let's speak about our one person we have today.
Yes. So real quick, this is the new Owl podcast where we get to interview the best and brightest experts all across the United States. So if you are tuning in and want to be in this podcast studio, just shoot us an email, feedback@owwll.com. When you're flying to South Florida, come on down and Jimmy and I will love to interview you. So Jimmy, this guest is important to you.
Super
important. So I'm going to let you do the honors.
Oh my gosh. So she is one of my favorite people on the planet. Okay. This is so true. And I've known her and watched her for about 10 years now. We've known each other. And, when we first met, we're already 15 years into doing what you're doing. And it's like incredible to watch her. Guys, you're in for a special treat. So today's guest is Andrea Ocampo. She's a TV host, entrepreneur, author, speaker, producer. She does incredible stuff, including she's been a TV host and producer for, get ready, if you're a sports fan, get ready, the NHL, the NFL, WWE, and also the Travel Channel and Univision. Like, she is all over the place. And she's not just beautiful, but she's also super brainy. She's a professor at Barry University. I'm like, sorry, say what? And she's doing incredible things, including her NFT project. There's so much we're going to get into with Miss Andrea Ocampo. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. I am blushing. And I'm getting all giddy because I've known Jemmy for a very, very long time.
Yes, you have. And so I want to actually first ask you about your company, HBU. I want to start there because HBU, I feel like, reflects the culmination of this journey that you've been on into this expertise. It really reflects how you have built your expertise brick by brick, and now you have this incredible company. So let's just first start there. What is HBU? What does it stand for? And what do you do?
Well, thank you so much for asking. HBU Media stands for How About You Media. It's my creative consultation agency where I help people become brands and then turn the brands into powerhouses. So pretty much using all of my experience in the world of entertainment and broadcasting and producing to help these amazing people with their dreams, essentially.
Wonderful, wonderful. Okay, so I happened to notice it's weird doing research on your friend, but
Listen, all I have to say is that Google is a scary place. Don't do
it. It really is. I mean, the things that people comment on, and it never goes away.
You guys have Googled yourself. I know
you look on Facebook, all these weird comments. It is interesting.
Jason, have you Googled yourself?
I have. I go pretty deep into Google, actually. It's pretty scary.
And you're lucky you have a common
I do
name.
a lot. I have a lot of websites, and I do a lot of search engine optimization on these websites. So I am very deep. I've been on a lot of podcasts, been on a lot of TV shoots, and I'm everywhere.
There, yeah, and it's mostly positive that's out there.
Yes, right now it is all positive.
And do you read information for the first time about yourself? You're like, really? I had no
That's
idea.
interesting. That's an interesting factoid. Yeah, I actually read somewhere that I was apparently married to Glenn the Geek. That was really funny. Like, no, I'm not.
That is pretty funny.
Like, I don't remember that happening.
You're like, give me my popcorn.
This is good. So, but what I did find, so I stuck to LinkedIn. Okay, we stayed a safe space of LinkedIn, and I noticed a video, and I wanted to bring up the content on the video because I think it really speaks to your expertise. Mm-hmm. So you're talking about, and this is really helpful because you do all kinds of great content, and you're all about helping people build their own thing. And so you talked about how to start a media company without breaking the bank, and I'm like, yes, girl, yes. Okay, so I just want to tell people the quick rundown of the steps that you shared, and then you can go into it.
Awesome.
Step 1, creating content a few hours a day, make it compelling and unique. Then it was launching a company with a website. You don't have to have this whole brick and mortar, so save your pennies, build a website. Growing your audience by attending and networking at events, offering value. So I thought that was all so many great tips.
Thank you for watching it.
Yeah. So tell us more
She's
about.
better than me. I just show up here and I'm like, I'm winging this thing. I'm like, that's going to be natural on my end.
So
no
we're winging
iPad
it.
screen. I did one Google search. I was like, okay, we're good.
So it takes an expertise to figure out that those are the steps. It's simple. So tell us more. I'd love to know.
So the series that I launched, it's called Business Life Hacks, where I help people with some succinct tips to obviously crush their business. So the specific segment that you brought up, I always get the question, like, how do I launch a media company? We all are some type of, we launch a podcast, we want to launch a blog or whatnot. And I found that you don't have to break the bank, and I'm all about bootstrapping. I mean, that's how I started. And a lot of the initiatives that I've done myself, I'm like, okay, I need to be very mindful with my resources. So if you want to start a media company, essentially, it's really just digging into your resource pool and overall your resources. A lot of times you don't know the people that you know until you go out there and really talk to them.
Yeah.
Right? And just really being authentic with your execution. A lot of times it just takes a keyboard and your amazing, compelling content. You always have to crawl before, you run. And I think that's where people miss the mark. You always have to keep it so simple to be able just to create, your authenticity and what you're about. And then, go out there and do all the big things. But if you really stick to your plan, which is creating content that is succinct and powerful to your brand and what you want to do, you're never going to lose if you're always offering value. A lot of times we get so tripped up of, what are people going to think of me, or how am I going to create this big impact? And I think because of social media, we have that big stress on our shoulders, but
we compare ourselves to everybody else.
We compare ourselves, and remember, we're all filtered up. But I bring that up just because if you're going to start a media company or your business, if you are there helping people, you are never going to lose. If you're on stage and if you're really trying to help your a client, regardless of what the industry, you are never going to lose. It doesn't matter who doesn't like you, and it doesn't matter if you don't have all the steps figured out for your media company or your blog. Always offer value. And I know that word now is being said a lot, offer value. But if you really stick to the simplicity of what you're doing as a business, you're never going to lose if you're trying to help a client.
You know what I love? She said it's just about helping people. It's that simple.
It's so true.
Right? Everyone's so worried about the logo, the email address, the Instagram handle, the filter. But when you look at all the successful when you look at all the successful people that we ever talked to, we were just that place of hope.
Yeah.
And you look at it, all the names, it's very simple.
Very generous people. You get what you get.
They just helped people.
Yeah.
And it's that simple. And
it
then
truly
everything
is.
else comes right around the corner.
It is. And you know what? Even with like the logos and the names, like, yeah, we want a perfect name and logo. And we want a really great brand. But listen, a lot of people get so caught up in the minutia of those things. I don't care about a name. I'm like, let's just name it blah, blah, blah. And then we're going to figure it out as we go. We're going to figure it out as we go.
How exactly do you spell blah, blah, blah?
Here's my card.
Well, it's funny you say that because people always ask me, how did you come up with the name Owwll? and it was within 24 hours, right? I just knew we had to execute really quickly. I had 8 developers on the line doing an MVP, and they're like, "What's the name?" I go, "I have no idea what the name is when we need that."
The train
like,
has
need
left the
we need it. We need it
Exactly.
now. Like everything, it's going on every screen that we build out. We need this right away. So I went in a room with a bunch of my teammates, and we're like, "What is it?" We just jotted down stuff on Excel, handwritten, brainstorm, and then right to GoDaddy, and then boom, 2 W's, 2 L's. That's it. Owwll's the bird of wisdom, intelligence,
and
we
it
just
wasn't $1 million, right?
Yeah, $10. We were done.
So what's interesting though, because I love that you talk about the name isn't necessarily the most important thing. We can figure that out later. But I have never seen a more serious look on your face than right before we started filming, and like, oh, I don't joke about my content. I take my content very seriously.
Listen, I take my content very seriously, and if you're my client and my friend or part of my family, you know that I always have the best team around me creating content. And now if you're a business owner or if you're a brand, it's all about your content. I mean, if you see me with a GoPro on my head, don't ask questions. This is just what it's all about.
But here's the thing. Like, I think when people are trying to develop their expertise and get known as something,
it goes back to, if you're helping someone, you're golden. Do not focus on being perfect on the camera. Do not focus on having an amazing introduction. Don't focus on that. Sometimes because a lot of clients or people even I get nervous when the camera goes on. It's natural. If you just create content that is true to you, so that doesn't even have to be you talking to the camera. Just put the camera over there, do a time lapse. You'll forget that the camera's there, and little by little, you're going to start to create your library of your content. And if you do want to engage with your clients or your audience, then maybe you're going to have to start to practice, and practicing is okay. So that means like standing in front of the mirror and practice saying your name. I know it sounds crazy.
You have to feel silly sometimes in order to feel right. Yeah.
Look, and then if you feel silly, you're doing something right.
Yeah.
You just have to practice. And it sounds so, look, all of my takeaways is very simple, because I think, with all the experts out there, they give you all the things and then you leave like, that wasn't helpful. That was scarier, right?
It's overwhelming.
It is overwhelming.
When you look at social media today, I was like, you need a TikTok account, you need a Clubhouse account, Twitter account, and then a website.
Follow me on Twitter Spaces, and now it's Web3, and you're like,
you need a podcast. Now you
I don't even know what Web1
Now you got to use live streaming on everything, not just one thing like Facebook. And after a while, you're like, I can't be everything to everybody.
100%.
Right?
And if you really want to connect with your audience, and if you really want to master the camera, just master saying hello. How can we find you, and how can you help your clients? And just do it over and over again. And it's okay if you flub. You know what? Sometimes the best performing videos are the ones that I'm drooling, have the double chin. And it was, and in my mind, I thought it was the worst. It doesn't matter. Remember, it always goes back to, if you're helping, the train has left the building. Just please practice. Intro, you're saying hello. Where can we find you? Just find me my Instagram, your handle, and honestly have, just be lighthearted about it. Don't take yourself too seriously.
So I don't have to be in my head when these cameras go off and be like, oh my God, that is on camera forever.
No.
I'm good.
No.
I'm good. Okay, I'm good.
This is going to be forever. That is true. It is interesting, though. Like, both of us have been podcasting for a long time now.
Yeah.
What, 2014?
Yeah.
On your end? Mine's 2017.
Yeah.
I mean, we all have to start from somewhere and take those baby steps.
We do.
The baby steps.
You aren't here today.
Hire a coach. It's like there's only you can only go so far by yourself. And I've even hired a coach for myself, for my business. So, and even a media coach. When I was with the WWE, I needed some help to up level what they were looking for. So it is okay to reach out and ask for help, but just take the first step. No
and
matter
in
what.
fact, I'm going to be sharing about when I reached out and asked you for help a little while ago. So I can't wait till we get to that. That'll be more for like the third segment of the show.
Oh, yeah. Well, I think with that being said, why don't we hit a commercial break, and then we come back. That's going to lead right into what we're talking about here.
Well, we have a great commercial from one of our longest supporters at Owwll. He is an incredible person on the app. So as I'm reading this commercial, please be sure that you pull out your phones, look up the Owwll app, and find Mr. Daniel Hall. So here I go. What if I told you there's a way for you to see how much time your audience was taking out of their lives to engage in your content? Daniel Hall is the adoptive dad of 6 remarkable children who have made him an expert in listening with more than just his ears. And that has been his inspiration in creating Peekaboo. 3 years in the making, Peekaboo for LinkedIn is shifting creators' minds from vanity metrics to reality metrics. Learn more about your superfans and Peekaboo at staging.peekaboo.live.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Owwll Podcast. And how cool is that? That at the end of the day, what he built is just helping people.
Yeah,
right?
Again,
We're talking about helping people.
Saying.
Right? He's just saying, like, hey, everyone's commenting and hitting the like button, but you don't know who your fans are.
Yeah.
And you should get back to your top fans.
Yes, and engage and all that kind of stuff.
And Daniel's such a giver. He leads with giving, and now he has a product that it's gonna make a big difference.
What a great name.
Yeah, it's fantastic. And actually, I want to talk about the power of giving because you are a big giver. I mean, you're very, very generous. Anytime that I've needed, like literally anything, I know that I can call you and you're there. And I'm like, how are you there? You're so busy. You're everywhere else.
Who do you know, right? Our next segment, the power of networking.
Exactly.
So let's go right into this, of course. So how do you build a network, right? And how important is it to your business?
You know, it's so interesting because I say you build a network one person at a time. And it sounds so simple, but I go back to the days when I was with the Florida Panthers as the arena host. The reason why I could honestly attribute my career being successful with the franchise just because I was really invested in the fan base. The fan base is the reason I even had a career. I wasn't great when I started. I was not a very good sports reporter when I started.
But ready for this? Everyone thought you were the best, I bet. You know, if you did a survey, most people would be like, how was she? 8 through 10.
The first year, 80%
right?
would be like, oh, she needs help. But the whole point is that I was really invested in that fan base. I loved what I do, and you couldn't have one without the other. And I would get to know as many people as I could. I love people, and it was just really great to connect with really amazing energy. You know, people going to a sports game, they want to connect. Yeah. Everybody's happy at a sports game. So I was able to really build my network one person at a time. And then it's really taking the time out of your life and seeing how, asking someone, how are you? Are you okay? And just offering value from a professional standpoint,
Sure.
There's always a time to sell.
Yeah.
And there's always a time to give. I think when you lead with giving, you're never going to lose.
Yeah.
You know what I like is the one at a time aspect.
Yeah.
Because so often everyone's chasing the large audiences, right? And everyone just follow, I need to get to 1 million followers, right? And then when you really break it down, right, it comes back to those one-on-one relations. You don't have enough time in the day to connect, with that many people.
Right.
But on an individual basis, you're impacting one life at a time. And that's such a big deal.
I love that you're saying that. And I think now from a societal standpoint, we're realizing that our worth is not determined by our follower count. Because remember, social media is not real. I will always do a song and dance about that. But it's not real. And I think now we're really understanding the impact of social media, the good and the bad, and understand that our worth is not based on the amount of followers. I get it from a business perspective, but I rather work with a micro influencer and somebody that has impact on 10 people versus somebody. How can you impact 1 million people in a very meaningful level, other than lip liner? No, that is not my.
I see that all the time. Like the quote gets popped up on LinkedIn. They're like, "You're the best. That's amazing." I'm like, they just took a quote off Google. I was like, what? Am I missing something here? Like, what?
Yeah, but when you get to the granular situation, that's what we want. It's 5 people that are really invested in what you're saying and what you're doing, and that's greater impact with just that meme that you just put out there and everybody's just clapping for you.
So it's interesting because as long as I've known you, and seen what you've done and everything, and all of a sudden, Andrea's into NFTs and finance, and I'm like, where did this come from?
Listen.
And I was curious. I was like, well, I can imagine that there would be people around you who might be casually mentioning their NFTs and stuff, and your ears always perking up. And then when you thought, I want to do that, you had someone to go to.
Of NFTs by accident.
Mm-hmm.
The one thing that I know is I have a media company, and I will say this. I missed the TikTok train.
Yeah.
And I missed the TikTok train because I was stubborn. I was like, this is not going anywhere. I'm not going to learn. I'm not going to learn another website. The TikTok took off, and now I have a media company. Now I had to do a lot of catching up to service my clients and to position them via success via TikTok. But it was very hard because I was stubborn. And then after experiencing that hiccup, I said, never in my life will I be so stubborn and be snobby about it.
Well, good news. You're one of the first on Owwll. So you're getting in the front door.
Early adopter.
Yeah.
It's so important to not be snobby about what's going on, right? But that brings me to Web3 and what's going on. When I heard Web3, I was like, oh gosh, what's a Web3? Mm-hmm. I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to learn this. But then instead of being snobby about it, I'm like, I'm going to be the first early adopter. Let me learn it so I can service my clients. And then I fell in love with the space. I got hired by an NFT project. My company got hired, HBU Media, to create their content and marketing strategy for their NFT project. But I was like, what's a who? NFT? I was like, I have no idea what this is. And I was not interested in crypto. My fiance was all into crypto, and I was like, I was snobby about crypto.
Did your eyes gloss over like mine did?
Of course, 100%. But I think, and this is what happened. I'm an artist first, but when I realized that there was an art component that could be attached to crypto and NFTs, that's when my ears perked up. I was like, oh, that's cool. And that's when a whole new world opened up for me. And what I did with the project for the NFT project, I created bilingual education in English and Spanish, teaching people what NFTs were. So we created a whole series on how to mint an NFT and what the world is all about, just to, number one, help people maneuver that world. And then I said to myself, how can I continue to help my clients in this space? So I said to myself, I'm going to launch my own NFT project, famous last words. How hard can this be? 8 months later, I'm like,
oh, this is how hard it can be.
It's been the most amazing experience.
Andrea, the pictures online are amazing, though, so thank you for all the work.
Honestly, I'm launching my own NFT collection.
Yeah, tell us about it.
I'm incredibly excited. I would really say that this is the most ambitious project that I've ever done in my entire life. And I honestly think it will be the biggest project of my life. It does not matter what I've done. What I would do in the future. It's just because I have collaborated with the most amazing minds, because we're surrounded by our network, and my network is surrounded by artists, photographers, VFX artists, illustrators, singers. I mean, these are the people that I've worked with for years, for 15 years, how we service our clients. And then I reached out to my network. I'm like, dudes, I'm doing my NFT project. They're like, what is that? I'm like, let's learn together. So literally, we are actually revealing what it is at the Crypto Connect conference here in West Palm Beach.
Pins and needles.
I'm super excited. I'm actually creating a docuseries. We're capturing absolutely everything of the creation of this NFT. And what makes this really interesting is the fact that this is a real life NFT, meaning it's a collection of real life photography.
Cool.
Real life photography. So it's not animation or anything like that. It's real life photography, lithographs, animated photography, VFX. And the project is called Goddess of the Elements. And it's an actual comic book story. It's a graphic novel series.
Wow.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. And I have seen you, because you're center stage in this, and I've seen the costumes. I don't want to reveal too much. I don't know what you're comfortably saying, but like,
totally
I'm so excited.
I hired the most amazing costume designer. She creates costumes for movies. So essentially she created a costume for Earth, Wind, Fire. And I mean, it's funny because people are like, what is this project? So a lot of times I'm like, let me show you, let me do it. So I was like, I had to dress up like Earth. This is what it is, guys. Follow me. So that's literally, I had to dress up like these characters so people could actually embody it, because a lot of times if people don't understand your vision, you have to do it.
Yeah.
And this is literally the new frontier of storytelling in the world of Web3. I know a lot of times, it feels abstract and it's okay. And people look at me like, huh? Even my parents this day.
Andrea, I have 2 bachelor's degrees, one in finance, one in IT. I still don't get it.
We're both looking at each other. We're like,
You know what? I'm glad, because with my project, I want to be able to onboard people that are so confused about it because my team is learning with me.
Yeah.
So my goal is to really onboard artists and create an artist and leadership incubation regarding this NFT. And I just can't wait to show you what it's all about because it has so many layers. And if you don't know, I will just say follow the journey with me.
What I'm loving, I want to just a little tiny nuance of this is that it's not all about you. You are not just reaching out to these potential collaborators you've known forever, but you're creating this opportunity as an addition for their portfolio, addition for them to learn from, and who knows where they can then take that knowledge for their own, their own talents and skills and careers and paths. And I admire so much about how you get it. You really truly get it, that it is about giving and it is about relationships. So I just wanted to applaud you for that and make sure that our listeners really truly heard that.
Thank you so much. And I will always go back to community. What makes an NFT project and what Web3 is all about, if there's anything anybody's going to take away, and I will tattoo it on my forehead, it is community.
You heard it here, folks.
Yeah.
Tattoo is coming.
I know people like, what you gonna tattoo something on your
She took that NFT project a little too far.
There's a new technology on that, right?
Listen, Web3 is all about community. It really is all about the viewer. It is all about you. And I think that's what's so amazing because the community that I'm building, my technologist that's creating our AR filter, our augmented reality filter for the conference, she lives in Albania.
Wow.
Albania. How I would have never created that connection. Our VFX department, they're from Colombia. And I literally just created an alliance with the Women in Film Project. Amazing people, women in film, from directors and producers. They want to be a part of this.
Wow.
And I would have never have created this or been able to tap into these amazing people if it wasn't really focused on community. And I'm doing this.
And if you had been a snob about it.
I was a TikTok snob. Ugh.
TikTok's still new, though, right? The demographic is still, 40 below, and we're just started. Just yesterday, I saw Eminem started his account as an example. He had 3-4 million followers like that, and people are talking about, is that really him? And it really is.
Yeah,
and
TikTok is
it's
awesome.
still early. I look at it as like it's not going anywhere.
You need to be on TikTok.
We are. Owwll's on TikTok. We have like 30 videos.
Are you dancing? Are you dancing?
We have one where myself and more Travis, we were doing
I
a
have
money
a TikTok
gun.
video of him attacking me with a robot dog.
Yes,
he made me dance because I was dancing away from the robot dog.
Okay, good. We have any
but
thirst
we're all in
traps
on TikTok.
No thirst traps. No,
I mean, talking about community, it started with a conversation that I was having with someone that is an expert on TikTok. On Owwll, and she's like, you got to start using the creator marketplace.
Yep.
So we've tried advertising on TikTok, and I see it as a home run.
It's amazing.
I'm getting in touch with all these creators on TikTok, and we've ran campaigns, and it's wide open for the taking. If you're a business owner out there,
it really
check it
is.
out. You could contact all these creators, and they have sometimes hundreds and hundreds of thousands or millions, right? Depends on your budget, and you can have one-on-one conversations with them and hire them, and join forces.
It's amazing because now I have a crypto lawyer. And we just onboarded 2 other clients. And instead of creating content with my crew, videography crew, now we're creating content for their TikTok. But that means it's organic content on your phone. So I'm creating a whole series for her TikTok audience about cryptocurrency.
That's amazing.
So
that's amazing.
How do you manage it all, though? Because we're going back to what you were talking about earlier, where running a business is extremely hard because you're wearing so many different hats, right? So you need to lean upon different experts, of course, to outsource these things too. So how do you put all the pieces of the puzzle together? Because now with the NFT project, the Web3, then also your media company.
Jason, that question is the question of the hour, and I think I think we all struggle with that one way or another. I am a fan of bootstrapping and creating your own business, right? But you need to get to a point, if you're really serious about your business, how do you scale? How do you not die from exhaustion, right? And how do you really balance it all? I mean, if you're going to scale, you need to create systems. You need to honestly hire people that are not experts in your field. Listen, I'm an expert in this. I'm not an expert in all the things that makes my company a success.
Right.
So I've literally hired people to help me become an expert and help me be able to better service my clients. And I honestly think you need to be very honest with yourself as to what success looks like to you and really understand that. Try not to end up on autopilot. And I think because of social media and all the things, you just have this crazy expectation on yourself, and understand who you are, try to understand who you are first as a human being, because when you try to be all the things, you may lose yourself. And I went through it in my media career. I'm just in a place right now where I know who I am as a human. I know that I'm not for everybody. I don't want to be for everyone. And I think understanding yourself from a very personal perspective is going to really speak volumes as a business owner. And then from there, really execute as a leader. So that means really hiring from your resources who is an expert in, systems for me saved my life. Saved my life.
I agree. I live in my CRM system.
100%.
It's so important.
I was a Post-it queen.
I've been there before.
Of course. So I hired the expert to help me with my systems. And honestly, I am a branding expert, but I need to hire a branding expert for myself because I don't see myself clearly. We're like in our head, and sometimes we're so granular and so just caught up in perfection that you cannot move forward. So sometimes I need to hire somebody to kick my butt so I can continue.
And everyone's different. We see this all the time.
Yeah.
Podcasts, like you run your podcast one way, I run mine my way. And then also when we talk and then we come together like, well, we should both change our podcast and do things differently.
It's adjust.
You figure out these like little tricks.
Totally.
And those little tricks save you a lot of time.
And actually, I think this is a perfect segue, if you don't mind me bringing us into What the Flock, the third
flock?
Yeah.
We're switching gear?
Yeah, I know, right? Because I know you had mentioned before we started recording that, you don't really have a mentor per se that you can that you look at. But, and that you've mentioned the word bootstrapping a few times, and God, do I relate to that? Jesus Christ. But, But here's the thing. When we're bootstrappers, and if we're not necessarily having that mentorship, I fortunately did have a few great mentors, but we can be head down and just, you're in it. But I did look up and say, I need help with something. There was a moment, I think about a year ago, when, doing all the things, I've had to become kind of a Renaissance woman. I'm sure you relate to that too. But there's a certain point where you realize this is my limit. This is not, I need to go into this other wheelhouse and I don't know how to handle that. So the wheelhouse I needed to go into was I recognized that I was having some people start to show interest in having me almost be like a spokesperson of a certain extent for their brands and stuff. So I'm like, okay, I have no idea. Again, don't know how to look at yourself, right? And I didn't know how to package that and how to approach that. So I called Andrea and we had this incredible conversation. So even me, as well as I know myself and as well as I know my business and my goals and I needed you. I needed to hire you, and I did, because by the way, guys, quick tip, if you're truly a friend, you pay your friend their value. So 100%. I hired you, and you coached me through that, and it was invaluable. And so first of all, thank you. But also, so now whether or not you can look at this one person who was a mentor for you, you certainly, I'm sure there are plenty of people I look up to you who consider you this mentor kind of person you're leading. And so even with this NFT project that you mentioned, you set the stage of how it was all going to come together and how the environment that they were going to work in, the atmosphere of it being collaborative and a learning opportunity and a growth opportunity. So you are a mentor to many. So I'd love to know, what is it about your leadership style that you feel has helped you grow, but also helped other people in your path?
Jemmy, thank you so much. I'm a mush. Thank you. That was very kind of you. I mean, I've looked up to Jemmy for like 10 plus years. You've been an inspiration because she's write a best-selling book. I've done that, right? And I would also encourage others, if there's so many service providers, and I'm sure they're amazing, but try to receive guidance from somebody that's been there a little bit,
right?
And I think that's the biggest thing. I think for me, it's important that I lead by example, and at the same time, really learn from my mistakes. I eat a lot of humble pie. Eating humble pie, I think, has really helped my leadership style. And I think really admitting when I was wrong, going back and saying, oh, I could have done that a lot better. And understanding that there's your way is not the only way. And I love my team for it because I have a very strong vision as to where I want this NFT project to go. I've been working on it for a very, very long time, but I have such an amazing team that they also see my blind spots and just being very open to their feedback, you know. And I also have my non-negotiables. I think it's very important to continue to learn and not just be so stagnant in your way of learning and leading, because being malleable, there you go. Flexible, being flexible. I was like,
flexible in your word choice. There we go.
Malleable.
Got it.
Hey, word of the day, malleable. I love that word. But anyway, being very flexible in the way you lead, I think is going to be very important for your success. Listen, especially right now in the world of NFTs, nobody's an expert. I am learning as I go. It's like building a plane while you're taking off and really saying that I don't know this and being honest about the moments that you are not clear about.
If there's anybody who knows how to build a plane while you're taking off, it's this man here building his app.
So I'm going to go the reverse on this question then, because it's important for the audience to hear, because you've been through a lot of cycles, so have we, right? And you talked about earlier about missing the TikTok, boat, and you saw it, but sometimes we're all guilty of it. We're like, no, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I'm in a good zone. And we're seeing that right now, right? People have made a lot of money in the crypto space and NFT space. A lot of people selling stuff on the internet through Amazon, through all these marketplaces. And there's a lot of ego out there, especially people 18 to 30 years old, right? That have huge TikTok accounts. And you see it, the way they're responding to the people who want to work with them. Like, I'm reaching out to them. I'm like, time out. Like, slow down. Like, you should be running it like a business. There's going to be a cycle, right? The follower count one day is going to go down. And we saw it on Facebook. We saw it on Instagram. And you've been through those cycles. So what have you learned, I guess is where I'm going with this question, that now moving forward, to make sure, you don't make those same, mistakes, failures, because we all have them, right? I've done it myself, and I've learned to now hire the right expert, not just an expert, right?
100%. I mean, I love that you brought that up regarding these cycles, and I think it's always incredibly important. And I think when you're older, right, when you have the wisdom, it's very important, because you look back and you're like, this is my body of work. This is what I learned through. And fortunately or unfortunately, we have the YouTubers or this very young generation that they don't have the foresight, because they have this amazing success at a very young age. So whether or not they're going to learn the hard way, everything is cyclical. What happens when Instagram goes down for 2 days?
Yeah, everyone lost their minds.
Oh my God,
you ain't an influencer anymore.
That's right.
But what happens, right? Like what
happens to TikTok? It leaves the United States. There's talk of that.
Of course. So that's the one thing that I just always tell people: make sure that you have a body of work that you can show. What happens if everything explodes?
Yeah, you need your own platform. Actually,
you need your network.
Yes, you need your network.
I'm gonna read to you. I'm gonna share with the audience Andrea's business motto, because I found it.
You know what? I've had several
Sure you've
throughout
had several.
the years.
So let's see how this one still resonates for you. Okay.
There's some out there that are embarrassing, and it depends. And it also depends on the emotional state I was in.
I have a feeling you're gonna be comfortable with this one. Okay. You're good. Okay. Look at yourself as a business as well as an on-air talent. Always be 5 steps ahead and figure out a way to monetize yourself using your on-air persona to never be at the mercy of a network or producer. And I was like, hallelujah.
I will say that was one of the most rawest sound bites and quotes that I've ever had, because I will be very honest and vulnerable, and I only believe that you can be impactful if you're really honest. My contract with the WWE was not renewed. I thought it was the end of my life. I thought it was the end of broadcasting career as we know it. I went through a horrible depression. I went through this thing that I was like, what am I going to do next? All of my eggs were in that basket, because all I knew in my life was broadcasting. That was the trajectory. I moved all of my things. I moved everything. My contract did not get renewed. did I have an awakening? Oh my gosh. Because I was
a little
like,
bit of humble pie that you were mentioning before.
the most humble pie of my life. It really was the catalyst that really helped me launch my business, my creative consultation agency. But there was a lot of self-reflection after that. And then after, I was like, never in my life will I give someone or an entity the power to mess with my life the way it happened, you know. And I took it personally, and I get it. That's show business, kid, you know. But oh man, but I really tell that to people, because even as, you know, the TikTokers and people out there, it's like, please don't give one entity all the power, just because that can really derail your life. So obviously, diversifying your income streams and just really not just being one thing. That's why being flexible is incredibly important. But that moment,
or malleable.
There it is.
Word of the day.
Word of the day.
Malleable. I'm never going to forget that word now. But that was a very poignant moment in my life. And that is really one of the biggest takeaways that I will always tell everybody, even especially on your anchors.
Yes.
So has that changed then your process with just relationship building, right? Lots of times we see people ignore a lot of relationships when they're in the height of their career, money's coming in, it's easy, they burn bridges, they don't respond to text messages, they don't respond to emails. And that's where I was going earlier, is like, I see that a lot from, it's interesting, my guest on my other podcast, The Shrimp Tank, when I look at the most successful entrepreneurs, it's actually interesting, they're the easiest to work with. Because they've been through all these cycles, and they respect that relationship so much. And sometimes I find, you know, with the younger generation, it's like, sometimes like, what, like, why are they not responding? Like, it's a text message.
Careful,
like,
Jason. You're almost trying to sound like a get off my lawn kind of guy. Just be careful. Be careful.
But the point I'm making is to help folks at the end of the day say, you know, that community, when the wind shifts.
Yeah.
Right.
And the wind,
you want to be able to call
often.
Jemmy. Jemmy wants to be able to call you. Right. And I think that's important. So did you kind of learn that from that?
I definitely did. I mean, I was always very thankful that I had an amazing group of friends, and I always learned to never treat anybody less than. It doesn't matter where you are. Thank goodness. And I learned that from my parents. And the wind.
And you come from a very big family.
And I'm telling you, the wind shifts often, and everything is very cyclical. And the person that's going to be your waiter now is going to be your boss tomorrow. The industry is teeny tiny.
So true.
And listen, I remember everything.
So true.
It's true.
So I've been dying to ask this question, and it's the final thing on my immediate list. But so I did a thing, and I listened back to the beginning of our interview from back in 2014.
Should I like melt in my seat and hide?
So my first ever show was called Curve the Cube, and Andrea was my second ever guest. She came over, we had wine, we sat down with my crappy microphone, and we recorded. And it was a really fun conversation. But I want to there was one question that I asked you. I want to see, and I share your answer. I'm curious if you have the same answer, because no matter, you're out there, you know, your content means everything to you. And so you've been on plenty of stages. You've been on lots of microphones, and you're on lots of screens. And there are a lot of young eyes who are going to be looking up to you. I'm sure they have been looking up to you. You also have now two very special little girls in your world. They're going to be looking up to you. So here's my question back in 2014 to you. It was, what makes a strong, independent woman in 2014? And your answer was, a strong, independent woman is being free. Being free in terms of financially, living your dream, and doing whatever the hell you want without having to answer to anybody. What your heart desires, and not really having any doubts or any fear to hold you back. It's harder to achieve, but being independent is really being able to live your bliss, though sometimes to get there is a little challenging. So I just want to see your immediate reflections on your own words.
I kind of got a little emotional hearing
I saw the teary eyes, yeah.
Because that will essentially be the same answer. And freedom is everything. And freedom means different things to all of us. I think being financially independent is a very important aspect to me. And I think for all of us, I went through a divorce, and I'm always very, very open about my past and the challenges I learned along the way, and just being able to stand on your own 2 feet and saying, I did this, and really goes back to your creative autonomy, and even having a network control your future. So it's just interesting because that was before my contract didn't get renewed. So I think for me, having the ability and being able to spread my wings and living in a place where personally I could be happy and free and professionally. And I've learned so many lessons along the way. And I'm very thankful for those the lessons and the humble pie, because we know that everything is cyclical. And it gives me a lot of peace now, because if the moment seems unbearable for you right now, this too shall pass. Sure. And if it's amazing, and if you're at the tippy top, this too shall pass. So knowing that, it's easy to get through the hardships, and it's easy to just be in the present moment when you are on cloud 9, right? And it's very hard to be in the present moment, and that's something that I struggle with, but it's something I really, really, really try to do every single day. Just being so grateful for this very moment, because this moment is not going to be ever going to happen again. And I know I sound like but when you really break it down, and I go back to the simplicity aspect of life, and this is how I stay happy even when things aren't going okay. And like I said, if your business is not doing okay, it's going to be fine. Just hire, experts.
Yeah. Jump on out and find somebody to help you.
Now watch our podcast. Look at this. Look at this.
I know. I'm so. I don't know if proud is the right word, because it feels like that's not my place to say I'm proud of you.
Oh, girl.
But you're amazing. And if you guys have been unaware of Andrea up to this point, become hyper aware and watch her and be inspired and connect with her in Owl.
I can't wait to get to know everyone. I mean, you guys are doing amazing things. And I think it's so cool because when we're surrounded by people like us, people that in the trenches that are doing it, I'm inspired by you every single day. And when you're inspired, you're on this amazing frequency that you feel elated. And every time I'm hanging out, when we're hanging out, we're like, this is so great. This is why I do what I do. I'm so excited. I'm so inspired, but it's really awesome because essentially we're each other's mirror.
That's true. That's very true. Very true.
And tell us about the conference that's coming up, because Jemmy and me might be in the audience. We'd love to attend.
Honestly, I'm so excited. And I actually have gifts for you guys.
Ooh.
You're
Nice.
So this weekend is the Crypto Connect conference, August 20th and August 21st. This is a shirt of my NFT project called Goddess of the Elements. Follow her journey. It is the journey of a superhero. And what's wonderful...
Gimme.
What's wonderful...
She's like, she brought it for me, Jason.
And don't worry, I have other sizes. So in case we don't fit in those, that's no problem. I have them all.
Beautiful.
Thank you so much. But this is what's really great about the story is the fact that you are going to be able to be a part of the story. You guys are going to be able to be a part of the story. And that is the experience that I'm creating with this most amazing team. And this weekend is really the opportunity where I'm going to talk to people about it and invite people to be a part of this journey. We are also sponsoring the after party, sponsored by Goddess of the Elements. And let me tell you, this project is amazing because of the people that are part of it. And I'm inviting you guys. And if you guys have no idea what NFTs are, good.
We're going to have to go, Jemmy.
It is okay. It's at the Palm Beach.
So you're going to finally teach me about what NFTs are? This is amazing.
It's wonderful. This is what it is. Like, the project that I've created is going to live, even if an NFT did not exist, it's going to be a graphic novel series. So I'm taking what feels abstract, but bringing it into reality.
And is the conference open to anybody to attend who's interested?
Yes, there's tickets available. So definitely go online to CryptoConnect.com. Follow me on Instagram. I will be pointing the arrow to where you guys can get your tickets. And it's a great time for an opportunity to network, really learn the space, and it's going to be so much fun. And if you guys don't know what NFTs are, a lot of people think obviously the industry right now is a little volatile, but right now it's the best time to build. When everybody's like,
get it on the dip. Yeah, absolutely.
And at the end of the day, NFTs, in my opinion, is the future because of the metaverse. And listen, remember, we can't be snobby because I was snobby about the whole TikTok. It is the future. It's here, even if we like it or not. And why not learn about it?
Yeah, and learn about it with you.
I know.
Even better.
I'm a big fan of it, and I even see the TM. See, that's about a bit. That's about running a business. You're putting the effort to put a trademark.
Oh my
not
gosh,
easy.
I got the best crypto lawyer.
All the details.
Yep. Nicola Fossey, because in this space, if we're really going to take this vision from beginning to end, I hired the lawyer, I hired all the people in place, and we named the main character, my stepdaughter, Sophia and Catalina. They gave her the name Zeta Rose.
Oh, lovely.
So this is really the story for kids of the future, the Gen Z and beyond. This is literally their story.
And what is your Instagram handle?
My Instagram handle is official Andrea Ocampo TV.
Wonderful. Everybody go follow.
Go follow.
Something's telling me if we go there this weekend, Jemmy, we're coming back with a lot of Owl NFTs.
Oh yeah, we are.
I still don't have one.
And I've been told to NFT my laugh, so I'll finally be able to find out what the heck that even means.
Listen, you have come to the right place. And listen, the owl, I will drop a little feather in your cap. Zeta Rose, listen. Zeta Rose, the character, our main character, our heroine, she has a companion. And her companion is an owl in the story.
No way. I mean, it's just all coming together.
It's meant to be.
It's all coming together.
Yep.
Who's going to be the first one getting an owl tattoo of our logo?
Don't tempt me. Don't tempt me.
Oh my God. You guys give me flashbacks. You guys give me flashbacks of the KVJ
Anybody
show.
wants to in
gosh,
I know. An owl
know.
tattoo.
KVJ
It is pretty cool. I put it on our license plate.
I saw that. Well, Andrea, it has been so fantastic.
Thank you guys for having me. This was so fun.
And I think there's so much more to learn from you and to watch you, and you have a lot to contribute and to give. And I can attest personally to the power and impact that one simple conversation with this woman can have on you and your career and your outlook on your branding and your marketing and your business and all the things. So do it. Reach out to
Girl,
Andrea.
thank you so much. And that wasn't sponsored. Like, hey.
Not yet. I'm sending her a bill. I'm just kidding. Thanks, Andrea.
Bill is in the mail.
Thank you for joining us. Awesome. Everybody in the Owl community, Owl
Bye.
Week.
Bye, guys.
Follow us on Owl. Find out all the events going on and tune into all the future episodes. Take care, everybody.
See ya.
Peace.